yeah. Often imitated, never duplicated. What's happening? It's your boy Onyx once again. It's in and around 6 p.m. Hey, my watch may be fast, but that lets you know I am not working on CP time this week. So, oh man, what is going on? What's happening? I want to give it a couple of seconds, let everybody kind of marinate, let everybody absorb in what's going on, what you see and what you hear. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, and even if you catch this replay on the podcast, yes, I record this every Sunday, 6 p.m. for the podcast. Going Full Nerd that you can find on Anchor.fm, Spotify, and iTunes, and your podcast provider that you choose. I'm on roughly about 9 of them. So, I'm not going to name them all because I can't name them all, and that's just the way it goes. Whew! As you can see, once again, it's 6 p.m. Sunday. Yes, we got a holiday weekend here in the U.S., We have that holiday weekend, Martin Luther King. It is not his actual birthday, but it is the observance as the national holiday coming up. With that, you see the subject. You see the subject of this week's video. The subjects of this week's video and this podcast episode is, what if the government shutdown happened in the comics? Wow, what would happen if the government shutdown happened in comics? That's something to think about. That's something that you want to know. That's something that basically what's going on now sounds like it's right out of a comic book. But we'll get to that in a minute. And as always, I go over the top 5 box office in the U.S. domestic box office. Coming in at number 1 this week is the movie I got a chance to see, the review that will be dropping Monday, and that is Glass, the third in the trilogy of the M. Night Shyamalan. I always jack old boy name up, but M. Night. I'm gonna call him M. I'm gonna just break it down, Mr. M. Night. Let's leave it at that. Mr. M. Night. His movie came in number 1 this past weekend. This is really the anti-superhero flick. So that came out to a $40.5 million opening in domestic box office. Let's give him a hand. When you got stars like James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, and Samuel motherfreaking Jackson, you gotta win the box office. You got Nick Fury, Professor X, and Bruce Willis. I'm just saying, Bruce Willis. You got John McCain. Die Hard up in that piece. But anyway, we're going to let that slide. We're going to let that go. Coming in at number 2 is last week's number 1, the Kevin Hart flick, the emotional, the heartbender, The Upside, pulling in $15.6 million. Coming in at number 3, another newcomer. This is a surprise because of the limited theaters that it ran in. And it's funny because it ran in less than half the theaters that The Upside ran in, and it made almost as much money. Coming in at number 3 this week is Dragon Ball Super Broly, by Funimation. And, this is going to be on the DVD, so I'm not paying for IMAX. I'm going to go check it out on DVD. I'm just saying, what's happening to my man Low Cuts coming in on the YouTube live chat? So, coming in at number 4 is last week's number 2. The big baddie of the bunch, surpassing $300 million U.S. domestic box office, surpassing over $1 billion worldwide. I wish I could do my echo like I used to do in the Bay. Worldwide. We're going to go ahead and say Aquaman coming in at number 4, pulling in $10.3 million. And making the top 5 even. I hate saying that. Evening? Good evening? Is it even? Anyway, balancing out the top 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, last week's number 4, pulling in $7.2 million. Now, Now, this week, what's happening to my homeboy Omar? How's that foot? How's that foot? Man, I would say let's kick it, but I know how that goes right now. My bad. Poor pun. Bad joke. Hope you feel better, my man. But anyway, this week we had a ton of new things drop. We had a ton of things drop in comic book entertainment. And I had my hands full trying to juggle this, right? Glass came out, so I had to get my way over to the movie theater to peep out Glass. Because that was, that's 19 years in the making to see what's up with Mr. Glass. You know what I'm saying? That review, like I said before, is going to drop tomorrow on Monday. I'm going to record that. I'm going to put my 2 cents. That's how your boy's going to roll it. Yo, I had to watch a little more Young Justice Outsiders. They dropped a few more episodes. What's happening to my man Ernest popped in on the YouTube live chat? So I got to keep an eye on that. I got to make sure. I got to keep up to date. Because if they do something in Young Justice that means something, I got to, be like boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's continue on. Punisher Season 2 dropped on Netflix. I have not watched that yet. I think I need to watch Daredevil Season 3 before I watch Punisher Season 2. Yo, I'm going to get killed for that one because I still haven't reviewed Daredevil Season 3. If I review Punisher Season 2 before I review Daredevil Season 3, something might be wrong. But guess what? This is Gone Full Nerd. We are beyond the norm. We will do what we do, when we do it, how we do it. That's how that rocks. Whoo, let's continue on. We got our first look at Spider-Man Far From Home. Jake Gyllenhaal. The last time I seen, what was that? Is that Jake Gyllenhaal? Is it Gyllenhaal? Yo, what's up with all these names between Shamalama and my man Gyllenhaal? Brokeback Cowboy #2. Man, they killing me, yo. They're killing me with pronouncing these names. I should do the research, listen to a couple of TMZ reports, and know how to pronounce M. Night Shyamalan and Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever. Anyway, they jack up my name if they saw it, so I could care less. Give what we get. Oh, man. Now, I see inside the YouTube live chat, y'all talking about the reign of the Superman. Yo, check out my review. I'm not gonna say, you need to watch the review how I felt about it. I'm happy, so I'm not going low cuts. Don't rain on the parade. Let people go watch the review. It's a spoiler-free review, and then they can go judge for themselves. Be good. Anyway, so I got to do this. This is going to be a short show, actually, but I just wanted to raise a few questions. I tried to stay away from certain subjects, but this one is hitting kind of close to home, so I'm not going to stay away from it. I'm just going to adapt it, overcome it, massage it, rub it a little bit, keep it G-rated. I'm not going to alienate nobody. I may lose some people on this one. Nobody that's regularly watches me, but maybe the casual viewer may not want to deal with me after this, but I could care less. This is my platform. I get to say what I want to say and do what I want to do. Like that old MC Hammer joint, say what I want to say, do what I want to do. That's how we go. So as many people know, parts of the U.S. government is shut down at the moment. And it's affected many families. It also has affected mine. Okay, let's go out there. I'm still going to work. I mean that's how it go down. I work for the state. I get it down. I gets down. Hold on, wait a minute. Pause. Low Cuts, it's your birthday? Oh, happy birthday to my man Low Cuts. Happy birthday. About time you joined the 40 crew. That's what I'm talking about. Don't worry, we age like fine wine. Just don't leave the bottle open. Hold on. But anyway, so happy birthday. Another one of those January birthdays. I'm going to have y'all start just sending birthdays so I can shout y'all out in the beginning of each month and call it a day. Whew. But anyway, let's throw it out there. So, now, my household, our funds have taken a hit. I'm gonna throw it out there. We took a hit. We ain't take a Mike Tyson punch, but we took a couple of small, small jabs, a couple of body shots, but we still in there. But, it is what it is. All right. So now, it may change the dynamic of what I review, when I review it, but it ain't going to stop what I do. Okay? Although, this whole situation makes me feel like I'm in a comic book. I'm just saying, it makes me feel like I'm in a comic book. Now, this is the thing. This is the longest government shutdown in history. It's still going. As of the recording of this podcast, it is still in effect. Despite whatever they say they do in the talk, whatever press conferences is going on, it is still happening. It is still people not getting paid. It's still people that can't go to work. I know I don't usually jump on this political platform, but I gotta go there on this one. I gotta go there. Okay. Now, over the years, I've read a lot of comic books, and I've seen a lot of different things, because they'll have a real president mixed in comic books. They'll have a fictional president mixed in comic books, and it happens. Or they have some fictional public figure doing things to affect everything else. This pretty much just made me, it really, what's the best way for me to put it? It really made me think. It was like, okay, I'm good with this, but let's go and see what's going on. Let's think about it. So, as we're living in this comic book, it makes me think of a couple of main stories. All right? It's a couple of main stories. Now, I'm gonna go on these, and I hope that some of you have taken the time to read these stories or taken a look at these stories and see the similarities that are going on in what's happening in the world today. And if you like this one, you're going to love the review of Glass that I do tomorrow, because we're going to talk about that a little bit. And, talk about that tomorrow. It won't be live. You get the recording, but, that's how it rolls. So check this out. Anybody remember a little thing called Secret Invasion that the Marvel Comics put out? If you do, okay. Key important figures were replaced by alien invaders, okay? And when they were finally discovered, after they changed policies, started doing things, tinkering around, grabbing this, starting this power struggle, doing that, okay? People discovered it, the heroes rebelled, we got everything back under control, and then all of a sudden, everybody was wrapped up in the moment, and boom, the defining moment was taken by a supervillain. One of the most notorious supervillains at that time, the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. If anybody remembers reading that Secret Invasion arc, you can buy the books on Amazon. Go to Barnes and Noble. Go to Second and Charles. Go to Books A Million. Go somewhere, buy the trade paperbacks, and peep it out. So basically, what you had was a billionaire businessman who was not the most ethical, put in charge of one of the largest government agencies. Yo, that was crazy, wasn't it? That's a comic book story. That is a straight comic book story. And it took a while. He had to do some wild stuff before that story really ended up wrapping itself up. I mean, it blew my mind. Okay, it's Secret Invasion, and then the aftermath of that, it was the shield went away, turned the hammer. I'm not going to spoil it. Go buy the book. But that's something to think about. That's just like, wow. What's up, Leotis? What's happening? I'm glad you dropped in on the live chat. So, that's just something that you got to look at and think about. That was something that's like, whoa, really? Wow, that's a comic book. But we've got a billionaire businessman in charge of everything that we're doing now. And stuff is kind of fishy. Stuff is kind of out of control. Because, if you go back to the Secret Invasion storyline, he started making deals. Norman Osborn started making deals with the villains. They set up the Cabal. They were doing things, little shady, setting up. Just saying. So that's that. Then I'm also going to throw out there DC Comics. I did some research today, and that's the thing. DC Comics, they're not safe from scrutiny too. It's not happening in the movies, but go back to the comic books. Just as much as we used to look at Lois Lane and be like, Lois Lane, you have got to be the dumbest person in the world, because you can't tell Clark is Superman with the glasses. You can't tell the difference. You can't. You that blind? That's how things ended up, because on 3 separate occasions, 3 different storylines or Elseworlds or whatever DC Comics were doing, they elected Lex Luthor president 3 times. 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times. The biggest supervillain in comic book history. This is the biggest supervillain that goes back in time to the 1930s when Superman was created. The bald-headed evil genius known as Lex Luthor has been elected president 3 times in DC Comics. Okay? Let that sink in for a moment. Let that sink in. Okay? And this is the thing. He probably could have been a good president in the DC comic book universe. I mean, he was an ultra rich businessman, super scientist, could create all sorts of things, had a mind that was just going, could defend the planet when he needed to. But he had one problem. And what his problem was, he was focused on one thing. He wasn't focused on the big picture. He was focused on one thing: his irrational obsession with eliminating Superman. Think about it. He would have been so effective if he didn't focus on that one irrational thing and divert it. I think they even did it in the comic books. If anybody's seen Superman, Batman, Most Wanted, the cartoon, where Luthor sent all the superheroes and everybody, because he was president, sent everybody to go get Batman and Superman, called them public enemies, or was it Public Enemies? I think that's on Netflix or something, or maybe DC Universe streaming service. Think about that. He could have been saving the planet, saving the world, making more money for the U.S., but he was so worried about eliminating Superman. That sounds familiar. My man said life imitates art. Doesn't it? And these stories happen long before what's going on now. Let me take a sip of my mystery drink. But that lets you know. So this is the thing. 800,000 federal workers are out of business. They're not working, or they're working without pay. Airports are changing their schedules. They're shutting down terminals, opening terminals based on people not coming into work. They're calling in sick because they got to go out and find some other ways to make money for their family, even though bills have been signed for them to get money back, after the fact. How long is it going to take for that to happen? Now, let's take a situation in case you got my family, we got government contractors. They don't get back pay. Okay? They don't get back pay. So, you got small businesses that are catching hell because this thing is shut down. So, you got these government contractors, these companies that have government contracts for these shutdown organizations, and they can't send their people to work. So there's basically bleeding money until this comes back up. So you're basically hurting the infrastructure of different businesses. I was listening to the news, and you had this one thing. It was interesting. They said the metro system in the Washington, D.C. area is losing $400,000 a day because people just can't go to work. They can't buy their metro tickets. They're not spending that money. Small businesses are going out of business because of all this. Yo, all I gotta say is no matter what your stance is, somebody needs to contact their representatives, and then they need to go and get this rectified. People need to go back to work. We need to get infrastructure rolling. We need to get things happening now. Now, I'm not going to go with my views. I'm just saying there's been many a supervillain in charge in media. I'm just saying. Yes, one of the my man. I appreciate you, Wilbur. I'm glad you put that in there. SNAP benefits for those who need assistance are possibly going to run out if this doesn't get started by February. That's something to think about, folks. Something to think about. But let's reel it in a little bit. So what are people doing? You see the news stories. This is entertainment. You see in news stories. Ellen bought cheesecakes from some furloughed government workers. She paid money. What is it, like $20K? Is that 20K she dropped? Wow. That's something else. But that doesn't help a lot of people. That helps one person. Heard a great news story. Lady showed up. Lady paid this person's mortgage. That's awesome. That is freaking awesome. So it gets better every day. There are some good people out there. There are people out there that are willing to help others. But this is the thing. How much stress can be put on a system before the system breaks down completely? I could drive my car at 150 miles an hour. It can go 150, I think. The speedometer says it. But how long can it go that fast? That's the question. Okay? I can run 10 miles at top speed. But how far am I going to get before my body says, yo, player, I don't know what your mind thinking, but your body ain't going to do it. So that's the situation we in. So this is that shout out to Norman Osborn, to Lex Luthor, to all the supervillains out there. I ain't naming no names. But to all the supervillains out there, yo, get your job done, folks. We got people out here relying on this. We need something done now. Now, how can you help somebody in need? Well, this is what I'm going to say. Yeah, it is pretty messed up. It is pretty messed up. Commenting on the live chat. But let's go ahead. But what if the government shutdown happened in comics? Getting back to that. Can you imagine what would happen if, there was a government shutdown in comics and the Avengers was like, yo, we can't save the world. There's a meteor coming, but because the government shut down, we can't go because they got to get our budget right. Yeah, we got all the equipment, but we got to get our budget right. Justice League of America, Dark Side approaching the Earth. Vandal Savage is setting stuff up. And it's like, yo, okay, we getting ready to take over. And then the Justice League is like, yo, whoa, hold up, players, hold up. Yo, we can't save the world right now because we just can't do it because, our part, we're the Justice League, Department of Justice. So we're shut down right now. So we can't go and defend the planet. So, but, once they approve this budget, we back. Okay? The X-Men not showing up because they like TSA agents. They like, yo, y'all can't stand us anyway. So what you mad because we got to frisk you? So why we going to save the world? You know what I'm saying? Do y'all get this? Do y'all see what I'm talking about? Do y'all figure out how crazy the world is right now? Sometimes if I see a special news report pop up, I'm in my mind, I'm just waiting to see somebody show up on screen in an all-white suit with a white fluffy cat talking about what's going on. Now this is what we're going to do. This is how I'm feeling nowadays. Yes, the superheroes would show up, with the Kevin Hart voice talking about, well, the way my bank account's set up and, the checking doesn't automatically go to the savings and then my debit card had to be replaced. That's how it is. And we in the back of our mind, don't you got a couple of billionaires on your team? Iron Man, you with the Avengers, can't you? And he like, yo, I'm a contractor. I'm not getting a check. I'm not getting paid right now. Some arc reactors cost money. If they ain't paying me, what make you think I'm gonna build another suit? I'm just saying. Aunt May got rent to pay. That's right. Aunt May got rent to pay. J. Jonah Jameson, ever since the internet, he ain't buying photos of Peter Parker from Peter Parker. It ain't happening. I mean, if you think about it, Miles Morales is gonna have to get rid of them Jordans he be rocking. He gonna have to head over and get a pair of Shaqs. I'm just saying. Think about this, folks. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep y'all long. I just had to vent. I just had to put that out there. But I also got to do the shameless plug. Yo, if you did not know, I know you watch on YouTube and I know you enjoy this. But you know what? You can also listen to me on your mobile device through iTunes, Spotify, and the Anchor.fm app. And the greatest thing about that, you can help support this podcast. This is your podcast as well as it is mine. I take suggestions. If you want to talk about something other than Daredevil Season 3, I'm on protest. I am so wrong for that. I am so wrong for the Daredevil Season 3. I am so wrong. Eventually I got to watch it. But anyway, you can donate. So if you go to anchor.fm/goingfullnerd/support, you can donate. And that donation comes to help me keep this podcast going. That's right. I get to grace you with all of this beautiful golden tones. Me. And for those of you that like watching the videos on YouTube and Facebook, you get to see this beautiful face. This face. Or you just get to listen to this cool voice. We can make that happen, people. Yeah, I think we might get a Punisher Season 2 before we get a Daredevil Season 3 review. I don't know. It all depends on how I feel. Netflix has been hurting me. Netflix raised prices. The government shut down and Netflix want to raise prices. They're making it hard for a brother not to go looking for some bootleg stuff. I'm debating whether it's going to cost... What's going to be the cheaper route? Buying antivirus or keeping up these subscriptions? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring a couple of other things to your attention. Please go ahead if you want to support supporters. You see, I instituted a great new thing. And if you're not noticing this, I want you to notice it now. Look down here. You see the little scrolling bar that has where you can find me? It says YouTube, Going Full Nerd. Anchor.fm, Going Full Nerd. It got Twitter, at Onyx1969. Yo, this is the coolest thing. If you end up being a supporter of Going Full Nerd, your name gets to get put down here for all to see. So go ahead, go on over to anchor.fm/goingfullnerd/support. You can donate monthly to your boy to help finance this cost. To keep the lights on. Keep the internet rolling. I'm just saying. And just to kind of throw it out there, coming up, Glass review will be tomorrow. I will be posting the Glass review tomorrow. I have written it out. I've made my 2 cents to give my normal spoiler-free review. Trust me. Glass is interesting. And I'll leave it at that. So, anyway, let me go ahead and say it. Like, share, subscribe. Check me out on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, Anchor, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me. Just type in Going Full Nerd. No spaces. We ain't paused when we said that. Going Full Nerd. Let's keep our prayers and everything going for everybody affected by the partial U.S. government shutdown. Hopefully everyone will get back to work, earning a paycheck real soon. And with that being said, if you can't say something nice about somebody, don't say anything at all. Or just send me a direct message and then I'll say it. Because I don't care what they're going to do to me. I'm grown. Anyway, peace out, y'all. And thank you for tuning in. Yo, what up, Ron? Yo, you a little late, so you going to have to catch the replay, son. But anyway, me with the outro. Bam!